My phone buzzed against the metal locker. 6 p.m., 1 hour to go. I was still in my scrubs, sweat sticking to my back, the smell of antiseptic permanently baked into my skin. I figured it was Olivia. Call and make sure I hadn't gotten lost on the 2-block walk from Mass General to the Four Seasons. I answered, trying to keep the exhaustion out of my voice. Hey, I'm just finishing up. You need me to grab the rings? Her voice came through, crisp and cold, cutting through the static. Nate, change of plans. We're postponing. I blinked. Postponing? Olivia, the guests are already seated. Doctor, Evans is literally adjusting his tie in the mirror right now. Indefinitely, she added, like she was discussing a rescheduled dental cleaning. Marcus is back in town. I leaned my forehead against the cold metal of the locker. Marcus, her ex-husband, the guy she divorced 3 years ago because he was a starving artist who couldn't afford her lifestyle. Okay, so, what? We're gonna grab dinner after his welcome party? I can still make it if I hurry. Don't be dense. Nate, she sighed, the sound heavy with impatience. He just closed a $500 million defense contract. He's having a gala at the seaport tonight. He needs me there. He's going through a transitional period. Transitional period? I repeated. Liv, we're supposed to be getting married in an hour, and I'm telling you it's off. She snapped. Look, you're a doctor. You understand duty. Marcus and I were together for years. I can't just abandon him when he's back on top. You're stable. You'll still be here next week. Wear the tux anyway. It'll look good for your CV if you're seen at a Tier 1 event like this. I heard her assistant, Chloe, yelling in the background. Doctor, Hayes, the car's here. Marcus is waiting. Gotta go, Olivia said quickly. Just hang tight. Okay, I'll call you Monday. Try not to look too rumpled if you decide to show up. Maybe they need help at the coat check? The line went dead. I stood there, the cheap plastic Casio watch on my wrist feeling like it weighed 10 pounds. 5 years. 5 years of playing the part of Nathan Coleman, the orphaned, scholarship kid resident who had to work doubles to afford a studio in Somerville. I'd let her pay for most of the wedding. I'd let her pick the venue. I'd let her loan me money for the tux I couldn't technically afford. All because I wanted to prove I could earn her love without the Coleman last name, without the billions. Stupid. The locker room door banged open. Dr. Evans, the chief of surgery, walked in, already in his tux. He took one look at me slumped against the locker and smirked. Coleman, still here? I figured Hayes would have ditched you by now. Who marries a nobody when they can marry a thorn? Chloe, Olivia's assistant, poked her head in. She looked me up and down, her nose wrinkling. Nate, are you seriously still in scrubs? Doctor, Hayes said you'd be handling the coat check at the gala. You need to get moving. Marcus Thorne doesn't like to be kept waiting, and Olivia's already stressed enough. I pushed off a locker. My jaw ached from how hard I was clenching it. Tell Olivia I'll pass on the coats. Evans laughed, a dry, rasping sound. Pass? Kid, you're lucky she's letting you breathe the same air as her tonight. You're an orphan. Nate, a charity case. Marcus Thorne? He's a kingmaker. Know your lane. I didn't respond. I just reached into the locker and pulled out the tux. Not the rental. The one my grandfather had tailored for me before he died. I'd hidden it under the scrubs. A secret I'd kept for years. I started changing, ignoring the sudden silence from Evans and Chloe. Is that a chiton? Chloe asked, her voice losing some of its edge. I ignored her. I buttoned the shirt, slid the jacket on, and felt the weight of the fabric settle on my shoulders. It fit perfectly, like armor. Where'd you get the cash for that? Coleman? Evans demanded, his smirk fading. You robbed the blood bank? I finally looked at him. Really looked at him. I'm done being the punchline. Doctor, Evans. I walked out of the locker room, past the nurse's station. Sarah, my scrub nurse, looked up from her chart. Nate, I thought the wedding was today. You look different. It was postponed. I said shortly, indefinitely. Her eyes widened. What? Olivia did that? That's God. Nate, I'm so sorry. Don't be, I said, grabbing my keys. She just saved me a fortune in divorce lawyers. I hit the sidewalk, the humid Boston air hitting me. I didn't go home. I didn't go to the Four Seasons. I opened the Uber app and typed in the address for the Seaport District. The gala, the driver, a guy named Mike with a Red Sox cap, glanced at me in the rear view. Nice suit. Man, going to the Thorn thing? Yeah, I said, staring out the window. Go to end a marriage before it starts. Mike chuckled. Rough night. Huh? Cheer up. Maybe you'll meet a general or something. I froze. A general. Samantha Vance. I hadn't thought about her in years. Not since that night outside a dive bar in Alston. When I'd been playing the part of a broke college kid, and some drunks had decided I looked like an easy target, she'd stepped in, all 5'10" of her, in BDUs, breaking a nose before I could even throw a punch. She'd looked at me, wiped the blood off my lip with a rough thumb, and said, "You fight like you got something to prove. Kid, don't let MC there getting to you." Then she'd vanished. I'd spent 2 years looking for her. Nothing. It was like she'd disappeared into the army. The Uber pulled up to the glitzy venue. Ropes, velvet, paparazzi. I saw Marcus Thorne immediately, holding court near the entrance, looking every bit the Silicon Valley Titan in a custom Tom Ford. And Olivia, she was draped over his arm, laughing at something he said, her diamond bracelet catching the light. She looked radiant, untouchable. The doorman, a beefy guy with a clipboard, held up a hand. Invitation only. Kid, coat check is around back. I didn't move. I pulled out my phone, tapped a few keys, a little trick I'd learned from a buddy in Cyber Command, and brought up a screen I'd whipped up in the Uber. It looked official. Special military consultant. Jen. Vance +1. I showed it to him. I'm on the list. He squinted at the screen, then at my face. His expression shifted from skepticism to uncertainty. Special consultant, right this way. Sir. I walked past him, into the warmth of the ballroom, the hum of conversation, the clink of crystal. I moved through the crowd, ignoring the stares. I wasn't invisible anymore. I felt their eyes tracking the suit, the posture, the lack of a name tag. Then I saw her, Olivia. She spotted me at the same time. Her laugh died. She detached herself from Marcus, her heels clicking sharply against a marble floor as she stalked toward me. Nate, what the hell are you doing here? She hissed, grabbing my arm and pulling me toward a secluded alcove near a towering floral arrangement. I told you to stay home. You're ruining everything. Ruining what? I asked, keeping my voice level. Your big comeback? Your chance to climb back onto the Thorn Gravy train? Her eyes flashed. Don't be vulgar. Marcus needs stability right now. He's a powerful man. I'm supporting him. You wouldn't understand. I understand fine. I said, I understand that you traded a wedding for a coat check. I understand that you think I'm stupid enough to wait around while you play house with your ex. You're being childish. She snapped. Look at you, showing up here uninvited. You don't belong in a room like this. Nate, go wait in the car. Or better yet, go back to that tiny apartment of yours and think about your future. When I'm done here, maybe we can talk about rescheduling. If you apologize. I laughed. A short, sharp sound. Apologize? For what? For not being Marcus? For not being a billionaire? Or for not being a doormat you can wipe your feet on whenever it suits you? She recoiled like I'd slapped her. How dare you speak to me like that? Do you know who I am? Do you know who Marcus is? You're nothing. Nate, an orphan with a medical degree and a mountain of debt. Be grateful I even looked at you. I'm done being grateful. I said. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. I'm done being Nathan the nobody. You made your choice. Olivia, you chose the coat check. Enjoy it. I turned to leave. She grabbed my wrist, her nails digging in. Nate, stop. This is insane. You can't just walk away. We have a life planned. I pulled my arm free. No, Olivia, you had a plan. I was just a backup option. But guess what? The backup battery just died. I walked away, heading deeper into the gala. I didn't know where I was going. I just needed to get away from her voice, her perfume, the weight of her expectations. And then the room shifted. A hush fell, spreading like a ripple. Conversations died mid-sentence. Heads turned toward the grand staircase. She was there, General Samantha Vance. She was an army blue mess, the uniform sharp enough to cut glass, metals gleaming under the chandeliers. Her hair was pulled back in a severe bun, her posture ramrod straight. She wasn't looking at the crowd. Her eyes were scanning, intense, focused, and then they landed on me. The noise of the room faded. It was just her and me. She started down the stairs, her movements precise, predatory. People parted for her instinctively. She didn't break stride. She stopped in front of me, close enough that I could see the faint scar along her jawline. The same one I'd noticed 4 years ago. "Nathan Coleman," she said. Her voice was low, gravelly, carrying the authority of someone used to being obeyed. "I've been looking for you for 4 years. You vanished after I patched up that lip you split on a bar stool in Alston." I stared at her, my throat tight. "General Vance." "Samantha," she corrected. Her gaze swept over me, taking in the tucks, the set of my shoulders. A slow, dangerous smile spread across her lips. "You clean up well. Doctor, much better than the last time I saw you." I glanced back toward Olivia. She was frozen near the floral arrangement, her face a mask of shock and dawning horror. Marcus was watching us with mild interest. I looked back at Samantha. "General, I hear you're looking for a plus one and a husband." Her smile widened. She offered her arm, the gesture both a challenge and an invitation. "Mr. Coleman, I thought you'd never ask." As I took her arm, I heard Olivia's choked whisper from across the room. "Nate? Who is that?" Samantha didn't look at her. She kept her eyes on me. "Let's go. Nathan, we have a wedding to arrange, and a few people to disappoint." We turned, walking away from the gala, away from Olivia's stunned silence, away from the life I'd almost settled for the first time in 5 years. I felt like I could breathe, and it had nothing to do with the tux. It had everything to do with the woman whose arm I was holding, the woman who'd just rewritten my ending before the story even began. We hit the main floor, and the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees, not from the AC, from a collective inhale of every trust fund baby and biotech exec in Boston. Olivia finally unfroze. She stepped right into our path, her voice cracking. "Nate, don't you dare walk away from me. Do you have any idea what this looks like? Who is this person?" Samantha didn't slow down. She didn't even glance at her. She just kept walking, forcing Olivia to stumble back or get run over. "Keep up, Coleman," Samantha murmured to me. "Don't look at the noise." But Olivia chased us, her heels stuttering on the marble. "Nathan, I am talking to you. You're a resident. You can't just leave with some soldier. Think about your career. Think about your future." I stopped just for a second. I turned to look at her. "I am thinking about it. Olivia, that's why I'm leaving." Marcus Thorne finally swaggered over, a tumbler of scotch in his hand. He looked Samantha up and down with practice. Dismissive eye. "Liv. Who's a renegade? And why is he wearing a chiton? Must be fake." He looked at me then, his smirk lazy. "You know, kid, if you're hard up for cash, I could use a guy to valet the Bentley. You look like you could handle a stick shift." Samantha's arm tensed under my hand. I felt the shift in her stance, the subtle redistribution of weight that said she was half a second from rearranging Marcus's face. I squeezed her arm, a silent not worth it. "Mr. Thorne," Samantha said, her voice cutting through the ambient noise like a blade. She finally looked at him, and whatever he saw in her eyes made him blink. "I'd advise you not to finish that sentence. Unless you want to explain to the Department of Defense why a major defense contractor is harassing a general's spouse." Marcus's smirk faltered. "General? What the hell?" "Samantha Vance." Olivia gasped, finally placing the name. Her face went from red to white. "The Vance? The Army's golden girl? Nate, how do you know?" "He's my husband." Samantha lied smoothly. She turned to me, her eyes softening just a fraction. Aren't you, Nathan? The word husband hung in the air like a grenade pin dropping. The crowd pressing closer. I saw a doctor, Evans near the champagne fountain, his mouth actually hanging open. Chloe, Olivia's assistant, had her phone out, recording. I looked Samantha dead in the eye. Not yet, I said. Then I looked back at Olivia. But soon, very soon, Olivia looked like she might faint. Nate, this is insanity. You barely know her. You can't just marry someone because you're upset with me. This is a tantrum, a publicity stunt. Publicity? Samantha raised an eyebrow. Mrs. Hayes, or is it Ms.? I never quite keep track of the divorces. My life isn't a press release. It's a mission, and my mission, for the last 4 years, has been finding this man. He saved a recruit from a beating behind that bar in Alston. He didn't know the kid was my cousin. He just acted. That's the kind of man I marry. Not the kind who waits in the car while his fiancée chases a bigger bank account. Marcus let out a sharp laugh. Vance, you're out of line. Olivia is a respected surgeon. She's supporting me through a critical business transition. What's Coleman got? A badge from the AMA and a used Honda Civic? Samantha smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. He's got me. And as of 20 minutes ago, he's got the full backing of Coleman Defense. My office cleared the acquisition paperwork while I was driving here. The room went dead silent. Even the string quartet stopped mid-note. Marcus choked on his scotch. Coleman? Defense? As in, the Colemans? The Colemans? I nodded once. Surprise. Olivia swayed. She reached out, gripping Marcus's arm for support. Nate, why didn't you tell me? All this time you're Nathan Coleman? Robert Coleman's son? Because I want to know if you love me, I said quietly, or if you just love the idea of what I could buy you. Today, you answered that question pretty clearly. No, it's not like that. Olivia pleaded, reaching for me. I was confused. Marcus is a friend. Yes, but you're my future. Nate, please, we can still fix this. We can get married right now. Here, Marcus, tell him we can use the venue. Marcus pulled his arm away from her, wiping his hand on his pants like she contaminated him. Are you kidding me? Liv? You just tried to pawn me off on a coat check attendant. And now you're crawling back to a billionaire? Pathetic, even for you. He turned to me, his expression shifting to a greasy attempt at diplomacy. Nathan, look, I didn't know. We should talk, privately, about the defense contract, about synergies. Samantha stepped between us. There's nothing to discuss. Mr. Thorne, Nathan isn't taking meetings tonight. He's busy. She looked down at Olivia, who was now openly crying. And you're done. Professionally, socially, medically, you're done. I don't tolerate leeches in my circle. And Nathan? He's the center of mine now. Sam, I said, tugging her arm gently. Let's go. Before I say something that gets me court-martialed by proxy. She nodded. Good call. We turned toward the exit. Behind us, Olivia's sobs escalated into hysterical screams. Nate, come back. I love you. Don't do this. Samantha, you don't know him like I do. He's mine. Samantha paused at the top of the stairs leading down to the valet. She didn't look back. He was yours, doctor. Now, he's America's. And mine. We descended. The valet, a kid barely out of high school, stared at Samantha's uniform and my face. Recognition dawning. General Vance? Sir? I saw the news feed. Are you guys? We're leaving, Samantha said. My car. Now. A sleek, black Army-issued Suburban peeled up to the curb. The driver, a young specialist with a buzz cut, jumped out. Znepin da salute. General, ma'am. Samantha opened the passenger door for me, a move that made the valet's eyes bug out, and I slid in. She got on the driver's side, slamming the door shut, cutting off the sound of the gala, the cameras, and Olivia's shrieking. She didn't start the engine right away. She just sat there, hands gripping the wheel, staring straight ahead. The silence was thick. You sure about this? Nathan? She asked finally. her voice quieter now, stripped to the steel. I don't do temporary. I don't do PR stunts. If I marry you, it's real, it's for life, and I will burn anyone who tries to hurt you. I looked at her, really looked, the strong profile, the set of her mouth, the way her knuckles were still bruised from a training exercise she'd mentioned in passing years ago. I've been playing pretend for 5 years. Sam, pretending I wasn't rich, pretending I didn't care that she looked down on me, pretending I was okay being a footnote in her life. I reached over, covering her bruised knuckles with my hand. I'm done pretending. I want real. I want you. She turned her head, looking at me. The intensity in her eyes was still there, but softer now, focused. You vanished after that night. I asked around. No one knew a Nathan Coleman. I thought you died. Or worse, that I'd imagined you. I was hiding. I admitted, from my father, from the name, from the expectation. I wanted to earn things. Turns out, I was just earning scars. She flipped her hand over, lacing her fingers through mine. Not anymore. You've got me now. I'll be your shield, your sword, your goddamn army. I laughed, a real one, for the first time that night. That's a lot of metaphors. General, I'm a woman of many talents. Doctor, she started the engine, the Suburban's V8 rumbling to life. First stop, City Hall. I know a clerk. He owes me a favor. Second stop, a jeweler. I'm not putting a Walmart ring on your finger. Third stop, she glanced at me, a smirk playing on her lips. My place, we got 4 years of catching up to do. And I don't mean talking. I grinned. Lead the way. General, she pulled away from the curb, merging into Boston traffic. Through the rear view mirror, I saw the glittering lights of the gala, and a small, dark figure being restrained by security near the entrance. Olivia. I looked forward. To Samantha. To the road ahead. Step on it. I said. Samantha Vance floored the accelerator, and we left the past in the dust. City Hall was dead quiet except for the click of Samantha's combat boots on the marble. 11:45 p.m. She'd made one phone call from the car, 2 minutes, tops, and suddenly some poor clerk named Dwight was fumbling with keys at the employee entrance, looking like he'd seen a ghost. General Vance. Dwight wheezed, pushing his glasses up his nose. Nang, I wasn't expecting you. Not like this. And not with company. He eyed me like I was a prop she'd picked up at a yard sale. Dwight, Samantha said, not breaking stride. License. Now, we're on a clock. Right. He scrambled down a hallway, muttering about waivers and special circumstances. Samantha didn't slow down. She led me straight to a small, wood-paneled office that smelled like old paper and cheaper coffee. She planted herself in front of the desk, arms crossed, and waited. I leaned against the wall, watching her. You do this often? Show up at government buildings after midnight to strong-arm clerks? She didn't look at me. Only for missions that matter. This one matters. Dwight burst back in, clutching a folder and a pen. Okay, so, standard form. Name of groom, Nathan Coleman? He looked up, eyes bugging out. Wait, the Coleman? As in, yes. Samantha cut him off. As in the guy who's about to sign his life away to me. Keep moving. Dwight, he swallowed hard and started scribbling. Right, bride, General Samantha Vance. Witnesses, he looked panicked. You're a witness. Dwight, Samantha said, and I'll be the other. Let's go. General, I don't know if I'm allowed to. You are now, she said, her tone leaving zero room for argument. Sign the damn paper. He signed. I signed. Samantha signed with a sharp, decisive flick of her wrist. Then she reached into her uniform pocket and pulled out a small, worn leather pouch. She loosened the drawstring and tipped it over her palm. A heavy gold band fell out. Thick, matte finish, inscribed with something I couldn't read in the dim light. She took my left hand. Her grip was firm. Calloused. This was my father's. She said, her voice lower now. Meant only for me. He gave it to my mom the day he shipped out to Kandahar. Told her if he didn't come back. It was hers to give to the person who deserved it most. She gave it to me when I made brigadier. Said it was time I found someone worth protecting. She looked up at me, her blue eyes boring into mine. You're worth it, Nathan, more than any promotion, more than any medal. She slid the ring onto my finger. It fit perfectly. Heavy, real, permanent. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Dwight squeaked, sounding like he regretted every life choice that led him to this moment. General, you may kiss the groom? Samantha didn't hesitate. She stepped into me, one hand cupping the back of my neck, and kissed me, hard, possessive, like she was sealing a treaty. When she pulled back, her breath was warm against my lips. Mine, she murmured. Yours. I agreed. She turned to Dwight. Destroy the original copy of the license. File a sealed version under classified. Joint operations. If anyone asks, especially a doctor, Olivia Hayes or a mister, Marcus Thorne, you know nothing. Understood? Dwight nodded so fast I thought his head might fall off. Understood. General, classified. Nothing to see here. Samantha grabbed my hand, the one with the ring, and pulled me back out into the hallway. Let's go. The vultures will be circling by morning. Sure enough, by the time we hit the Suburban, my phone was blowing up. Olivia, 20 missed calls, 30 texts. I skimmed one. Nate, I'm outside the gala. Where are you? We need to talk. This is a mistake. I love you. Another, if you're with her. It's just rebound. You'll come back. You always do. I blocked her number. Then I blocked Marcus's, just in case. Samantha glanced at the screen as I powered the phone off. Done? Done. Good. She pulled out onto Cambridge Street, heading toward the Back Bay. Now, about that catching up I mentioned. Her place wasn't what I expected. No sterile military base vibe. It was a brownstone on Marlborough Street, classic Boston. Brick facade, tall windows. Inside, it was all dark wood, leather-bound books, and framed photos of her with various units. One with the president, another with a group of Afghan kids she'd helped evacuate. No personal shots of family, though just the one of her dad in his dress uniform on the mantel. She tossed her keys on the entryway table and turned to me. Drink? Water's fine. She poured 2 glasses from a pitcher in the kitchen, handed me one, and leaned against the counter. So, Coleman Defense, why the hell were you playing ER resident at Mass General? Your father's been tearing his hair out for years. Thinking you joined a cult, I took a long drink. I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to save people, not because it looked good on a quarterly report. Dad wanted me in the boardroom. I wanted the clinic, so I disappeared. Changed my name slightly, used my middle name, James. For a while, fudged the records. Worked my ass off to get into med school on my own merit. Then I met Olivia. She liked the humble, hard-working doc narrative. Made her feel generous. Until her ex-husband showed up with a fatter wallet. Samantha's jaw tightened. She used you. Yeah, but I let her. I thought if I proved I could be enough without the money, she'd love me for me. I looked down at the ring. Turns out, she just loved the potential payout. Samantha pushed off the counter and walked over to me. She took the glass from my hand and set it aside, then traced the edge of the ring with her thumb. You're not a payout. Nathan, you're a priority. And from here on out, anyone who treats you like a consolation prize gets a taste of my boot. I laughed softly. That's quite a promise. General, I don't make promises I don't keep. She leaned in, her lips brushing my ear. Now, about those 4 years we missed. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. She growled an actual, visceral sound and snatched it up. Vance. Silence. Then her expression went from annoyed to ice-cold lethal. Doctor. Hayes. It's 1:17 a.m. You're violating a restraining order I haven't filed yet. Care to explain? I couldn't hear Olivia's side, but I could guess. Samantha's knuckles whitened around the phone. Let me be clear. Nathan is my husband. He's on the Coleman joint accounts now. He's on my insurance. He's in my will. You? You're a deleted contact. If you call this number again, I'll have the Boston PD escort you from my property. And if you show up here, I'll have you arrested for trespassing on federal land. This brownstone is leased through the Army. Am I making myself clear? Another pause. Samantha's lips curled into a smile that promised violence. Good. Now I'll lose this number. Permanently. She hung up and tossed the phone back on the counter. Problem solved. You didn't have to do that. I said, yeah, I did. She stepped closer, backing me against the kitchen island, because no one gets to disrupt your peace. Not tonight. Not ever. She kissed me again, slower this time, deeper. When she pulled back, her eyes were dark. Now, where were we? I wrapped an arm around her waist, pulling her flush against me. I think you were about to remind me why I married a general. Damn right. She grinned, and for the first time, it wasn't the smile of a soldier. It was a smile of a woman who'd found exactly what she'd been looking for. Hold on tight. Coleman, it's going to be a long night. And it was no interruptions, no Olivia, no Marcus, just Samantha and me, rewriting the rules of my life one kiss at a time. When I finally drifted off, it was with her arms slung over my chest, her breathing steady against my neck, and the weight of her father's ring and her promise anchoring me to the bed for the first time in 5 years. I slept without dreaming of coat checks or empty vows. I dreamed of home. I woke up at 6 a.m., out of pure habit. Samantha's arm was still slung over my chest like a weighted blanket. I slid out carefully, padded into the kitchen, and turned on the coffee maker. My phone, the one I'd power back on, was already vibrating on the counter. News alerts, Twitter notifications. The headline on the Boston Globe app hit me first. General Vance weds in secret midnight ceremony. Groom identified as Coleman defense heir. I smirked. Guess Dwight hadn't destroyed the paperwork fast enough. Or maybe Sam had wanted this out there. Behind me, bare feet hit the floor. Samantha's voice was rough with sleep, already causing trouble. Coleman? I turned. She was wearing one of my t-shirts from med school, the one that said, "Trust me, I'm almost a doctor," and nothing else. She looked devastating. Seems the cat's out of the bag, I said, showing her the screen. She squinted at it, then shrugged. Good. Saves me the trouble of a press release. Eat. Shower. We're hitting Mass General at 8. I want to see Evans's face when you walk in as chairman of the board. Chairman? I choked on my coffee. Dad stepping down. Interim position. It's yours. She leaned in, kissing my temple. Time to stop playing resident and start running the show. By 7:30, I was in a charcoal gray Tom Ford suit Samantha had produced from a closet I hadn't known existed. She was back in her Army service uniform. Every ribbon and badge perfect. We rolled up to the hospital in a convoy, my new driver, James, in a Mercedes S-Class, and 2 Coleman Defense Security SUVs trailing us. The valet's jaw hit the pavement when he saw the motorcade. Mr. Coleman? General Vance? Welcome back? Samantha didn't stop. She walked straight through the main entrance, heads turning like we were the goddamn Queen of England. Nurses whispered. Residents gawked. Sarah, my old scrub nurse, dropped her chart. Nate, is that really you? And General Vance? Oh my God, the news. Later. Sarah, I said, managing a small smile. Is Dr. Evans in his office? Igrejas. But Samantha was already moving. We bypassed the front desk entirely. She didn't knock on Evans's office door. She kicked it open. Evans was mid-sip of his morning espresso. He choked, spraying coffee across his desk. Wah, Coleman? Vance? What the hell is the meaning of this? Morning. Dr. Evans, I said, stepping inside. Samantha flanked me, a silent sentinel. Sorry to interrupt your breakfast. We need a minute. A minute? Evans sputtered, dabbing at his tie. Do you have any idea who I am? I'm the chief of surgery. You can't just... I'm Nathan Coleman. I cut him off. Chairman of the board of trustees. Effective this morning. And this is my wife, General Samantha Vance. We're here regarding Dr. Olivia Hayes. Evans's face cycled through several shades of purple. Hayes? She's one of our top surgeons. You can't just waltz in here and watch me, Samantha said, her voice like grinding steel. She tossed a manila envelope onto Evans's desk. It landed with a heavy thud. Inside, the withdrawal of Coleman Defense's annual $5 million research grant, effective immediately. Also, a formal complaint regarding Dr. Hayes' conduct last night, abandonment of her post, emotional abuse of a colleague, and attempted fraud regarding a recommendation letter she tried to forge using my signature. Evans tore the envelope open with shaking hands. He scanned the documents, his eyes widening. This is... General, surely we can discuss the grant. There's nothing to discuss. I said, Olivia Hayes is done here. Terminate her employment. Today, or I'll have the entire board vote you out by noon. As if on cue, the intercom on Evans's desk buzzed. The receptionist's voice was shrill. Dr. Evans? Dr. Hayes is here. She's demanding to see Mr. Coleman. She's causing a scene in the lobby. Samantha smiled. It was not a nice smile. Send her in. Evans pressed a button, his voice trembling. Oh, Olivia, come to my office. Now. The door flew open. Olivia stormed in, her hair a mess, her eyes wild. She was still in yesterday's gown, now wrinkled and stained. Nate, thank God. You have to listen to me. Last night was a mistake, a huge misunderstanding. I was just helping Marcus. She stopped dead when she saw Samantha. Then her eyes dropped to my hand, to the gold band. Her face crumpled. No, 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 no. Nate, that's not you didn't. Samantha, you brainwash him. This isn't real. Real enough, Samantha said, stepping forward. Dr. Hayes, you're trespassing on private property, and you're currently being recorded. She gestured to a security camera in the corner. Anything you say will be used in the civil suit Coleman defense is filing against you for defamation and emotional distress. And that's before we talk to the FBI about the forgery. Olivia turned on me, tears streaming. Nate, please, I love you. I made a mistake. Marcus means nothing. It was always you. We can fix this. Just tell her it's a mistake. Tell her you don't want this. I looked at her, really looked. The woman I planned to spend my life with looked like a cornered animal, and I felt nothing. No anger, no pity, just emptiness. I did tell you. Olivia, I said quietly, last night, I told you I was done. You didn't listen. You called me a tantrum. You told me to wait in the car. I held up my left hand, the ring glinting under the fluorescent lights. Samantha listened. She believed me. She married me. There's a difference. You're choosing her over me? Olivia shrieked. Over my career? Over everything we built? You didn't build anything. Olivia, Samantha said, her voice dangerously soft. You latched onto Nathan like a tick, then tried to jump ship the second a bigger host swam by. Now, you're just debris. She turned to Evans. Dr. Evans, escort Dr. Hayes from the premises. If she resists, call building security and have her credentials deactivated before she leaves this room. Evans, looking like he might vomit, nodded frantically. Why, yes, General, right away. 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. Olivia lunged for me, clawing at my suit. Nate, don't do this. I'll die without you. I'll ruin you. Samantha moved faster than I could track. She caught Olivia's wrist midair, twisting it just enough to make her yelp in pain. Assaulting a civilian is a misdemeanor. Dr. Hayes, assaulting my husband? That's a federal offense. Touch him again, and I'll have you in a military brig before you can say malpractice. She shoved Olivia back toward the guards. Get her out, and if I see her within 50 feet of this building again, I'm filing a restraining order so tight she won't be able to practice medicine in any state with a Coleman facility. The guards dragged Olivia out, her screams echoing down the hallway. I loved him. Nate, come back. You'll regret this. Samantha Vance. You haven't heard the last of me. Samantha didn't even blink. She turned back to Evans. The grant withdrawal is effective immediately. The board will be in touch regarding the new research direction. And Dr. Coleman, he'll be taking a leave of absence from clinical duties to oversee the transition. Clear? Evans nodded, looking like he'd aged a decade in 10 minutes. Crystal clear. General, Mr. Coleman, congratulations on the marriage. Thank you, Dr. Evans. I said, try not to choke on your espresso next time. We walked out. The hallway was silent. Every staff member frozen in place. Sarah gave me a thumbs up from behind a nursing station. I nodded back. In the elevator, Samantha punched a button for the garage. Feel better? I leaned against the wall, exhaling for what felt like the first time in days. Yeah, I do. Good. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through messages. FBI just picked up Marcus Thorne for questioning regarding the defense contract irregularities. Seems his $500 million deal was built on some creative accounting. Karma's a bitch. And Olivia? FBI's also looking into the forgery. Bruce? I leaked her attempted coercion of the City Hall clerk to the Globe. Her medical license review starts next week. She'll be lucky to get a job stitching up teddy bears in Alaska. The elevator doors opened. We walked to the car. James held the door. As I slid in, Samantha's phone rang again. She checked the caller ID and smirked. It's Dwight, apparently. Olivia showed up at City Hall at 6 a.m., demanding to see the real marriage certificate. Dwight told her to pound sand. I think I'll send him a bottle of Macallan. I laughed, pulling her into the car with me. You're enjoying this a little too much. General, damn right I am. She kissed me, hard and fast. No one fucks with my husband. Now, let's go home. I've got a press conference at 2, and I want you by my side. Time to show Boston who really runs this town. I looked out the window as we pulled away from the hospital. No regrets, no looking back, just the road ahead, and the woman beside me who'd burned the bridges for me. Lead the way. Mrs. Coleman, I said. She grinned. With pleasure. Mr. Chairman. 6 months later. I wasn't Nate the resident anymore. I was Nathan Coleman, Ph.D., M.D., the newly minted director of advanced medical research at Coleman Defense. I had a parking spot with my name on it, not a numbered spot, an actual brass plaque, and a team of 12 researchers who didn't call me kid unless they wanted a write-up. Samantha, promoted. Brigadier General Samantha Vance, head of the Army's Medical Innovation Command. She'd traded her field combat boots for custom Italian leather Oxfords that clicked just as authoritatively on the Pentagon floors. Tonight was the annual Joint Forces Gala at the JFK Library. Black tie, full dress uniforms. The kind of event where senators kiss babies and generals counted missiles. My tuxedo was Tom Ford, midnight blue, tailor-fitted in under 24 hours. Samantha's uniform was army blue mess, sharp enough to shave with, her new star pinned perfectly on her shoulder boards. She looked like she could command a battalion or a boardroom, whichever pissed off the enemy more. James, my driver, navigated the Mercedes through the checkpoint. A young MP stuck his head in the window, saw Samantha, and snapped a salute so fast he nearly gave himself whiplash. Evening. General, sir. Samantha returned the salute with 2 fingers. At ease. Specialist, keep the perimeter tight. My husband doesn't need any uninvited guests tonight. Yes, ma'am. I glanced at her as we pulled up to the red carpet. Uninvited guests? Still worried about Olivia? Worried? Samantha snorted, adjusting her white gloves. Please. I checked the guest list myself. She's not on it. Neither is Thorne. The only place they're welcome tonight is a jail cell or a waiting room. We stepped out. The cameras went ballistic. Flashbulbs popping like gunfire. Reporters shouting over each other. General Vance. Over here. Mr. Coleman. Any comment on the new defense budget? Mrs. Vance. Looking at your ring. Is that the Vance family heirloom? Samantha ignored them all until a reporter from CNN shoved a mic in my face. Nathan, how does it feel to be the most eligible bachelor in Boston one day and the general's husband the next? I slid my arm around Samantha's waist, pulling her close. Feels like I won the war before the first shot was fired. Samantha smirked, leaning into the mic. He's not just arm candy, Dave. He's the reason our field medics are surviving IED blasts. Show some respect. We moved inside. The room was a sea of brass and silk. Senators, COs, a few Hollywood types trying to look important. I spotted Marcus Thorne near the open bar, looking significantly less smug than the last time I'd seen him. He was surrounded by FBI agents in cheap suits, not venture capitalists. He saw me, paled, and turned away so fast he spilled his drink. Samantha leaned in. See? Karma's got a better aim than my snipers. General, a deep voice boomed. General Mark Harrison, Samantha's boss, approached with a wide grin. He looked at me, offering a hand. Nathan, good to see you. Sam's been insufferable since you two-tied the knot. Won't stop talking about your research on hemorrhage control. I shook his hand. She's been insufferable about my cooking. Sir, says I put too much pepper in the eggs. Lies. Samantha interjected. He puts too much butter. But I let him live because he's a genius. Harrison laughed. You two are disgusting. In a good way. He lowered his voice. Speaking of disgusting, Olivia Hayes applied for a research grant at Walter Reed last week. Use your name as a reference. Nathan. Samantha's eyes narrowed to slits. She what? Denied. Obviously. Harrison assured her and reported to the medical board. She's currently practicing at a free clinic in Nome, Alaska. Population 900. Mostly sled dogs. Last I heard, she was complaining about the lack of Wi-Fi and the abundance of moose. I felt a cold sense of satisfaction settle in my chest. Nome. That's fitting. Damn right it is. Samantha said. She grabbed 2 flutes of champagne from a passing waiter, handed one to me, and clinked it against mine. To sleeping dogs that stay buried, and to husbands who don't wait in cars. The orchestra struck up a waltz. Samantha set her glass down and held out her hand. Dance with me. Coleman. I took her hand. She led me to the center of the floor, spinning me into a hold that was more tactical maneuver than romantic sway. You're stiff, she murmured against my ear. Relax. No one's gonna stab you here. Well, except me. Metaphorically. I've relaxed, I said, tightening my arm around her waist. Just thinking. About that night at the bar in Alston. You told me not to let them see they were getting to me. She pulled back just enough to look into my eyes. And did you? Nope, I said, because you were there, and now you're here, and the only person who gets to get to me is you. She grinned, a rare, unguarded flash of the woman behind the uniform. Damn straight. She leaned in, her lips brushing my ear. You know, I put in a request for a transfer to the Coleman Defense Advisory Board next year. Permanent poste. More time at home. Fewer bullets. More dinners. More dinners? I asked, spinning her under my arm. You hate my cooking. I hate your butter usage. She corrected. The cooking's fine. Besides, I want to be there when you unveil the portable trauma bay prototype, the one you've been sketching on napkins for months. I raised an eyebrow. You've been looking at my napkins? I look at everything. Nathan, her voice dropped, low and possessive. Every deal, every patent, every threat. You're my highest priority asset and my favorite mission. We finished the dance to polite applause. As we walked off the floor, my phone buzzed. A notification from a private security app. A motion alert from our brownstone's front gate. A blurry image popped up. Olivia Hayes, wrapped in a threadbare coat, standing in the snow outside our iron gates in Nome, staring at a tablet displaying a news article about tonight's gala. 0 likes, 0 comments. Just her and the Alaskan wind. I showed Samantha the screen. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She just took the phone, powered it off, and tossed it onto a velvet settee. She's not worth a battery life, Samantha said. She pulled me toward the balcony doors. Come on, I want to show you something. We stepped out into the crisp Boston night. The city lights stretched out below us, the harbor glittering under a half moon. Samantha leaned against the railing, pulling me against her back. I used to stand on balconies like this and feel alone, she said quietly. Even surrounded by thousands of soldiers, I was alone. Then I found you in a back alley, bleeding and swinging, and I thought, there's a man who doesn't know how to quit. I spent 4 years looking for that man, and now I've got him. I turned her around, cupping her face. You can just find me. You saved me from a life of pretending, from a woman who saw me as a utility bill, from myself. She kissed me then, soft and slow, the kind of kiss that tasted like victory and forever. When she pulled back, her eyes were bright. I love you, Nathan Coleman, not because you're rich, not because you're smart, but because you're mine, and because you finally stopped waiting for permission to be happy. I love you too, General, I whispered, and I'm done waiting for anything, except maybe that transfer to the advisory board, and fewer vegetables in my omelets. She laughed, a rich, genuine sound that echoed off the brick walls. Negotiable. Everything else? Non-negotiable. She rested her forehead against mine. Welcome home. Husband. Below us. The gala continued. Above us, the stars were sharp and clear. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I wasn't waiting for the other shoe to drop. I wasn't a secret or a backup plan. I was the heir, the husband, the man who'd won the heart of a general. And as Samantha pulled me back inside, her hand clamped firmly in mine, I knew one thing for certain. The war was over, and I'd won.